So, no messing today because Topanga and Macaulay Culkin were on the first ever Raw on Netflix. So my finger of power is speaking to me. We're giving it an up. And then we ruined it, because next to Topanga, right there looking at me and looking at you, was Eric from Boy Meets World, also known as Will Friedle, and nobody said anything. And like the massive nerd I am, I sat there watching on my Netflix device, was genuinely offended. If somebody from Boy Meets World turns up on your wrestling show, you, ironically, acknowledge them. It's getting the most ridiculous down ever. Also, yes, hello and welcome to Ups and Downs, which I guess I should introduce properly, because that's what WWE did the entire evening. It is a wrestling review show, and as far as this bald idiot is concerned, the only wrestling review show you need. My name is also Simon Miller, and I am a real professional wrestler too, which makes no sense, but more importantly, I have this, which is the finger of power. When we like something, we say up, and when we don't like something, we say down, and we remind everybody, no matter who you are, wrestling is meant to be fun, so we're always going to be positive Pete's. Sound good? Let's go. It's a brand new era, because Raw is now on Netflix. Now, I knew this was a big deal, because even my mother asked about this. She knows nothing about professional wrestling. She's like a search engine when you call it Google. She just refers to wrestling as WWE. The cold opening that played beforehand as well was so damn good, and if you haven't seen it, you should go out of your way to watch it. Although here, it was played on like a giant curtain, I suppose, and the curtain fell down, and do you know who was standing in the ring? Repo Man. Although very sadly, it wasn't Repo Man. It was Triple H. So many people give him a hard time for stuff like this too, but just let him have his moments, man. It's not like he inserts himself into stories over and over again, but he was a wrestler who had to retire early. He's allowed to stand in the ring and feel that energy. I really did think it was a badass opening though, and I am going to give it an up, because like a loser, it gave me chills, and it kind of ties into a lot of things that we are going to speak about during today's Ups and Downs, and that is WWE quite clearly are hoping that a bunch of casual fans or new fans watch this episode of Raw. So there was a lot of exposition, and there was a lot of explaining, and there was The Rock. Now, it is a good thing he was on the show, because do not forget that Dwayne Johnson is a megastar. If we go back to my mother, which is a very weird sentence, even she was amazed one day when she was like, wait, Dwayne Johnson is The Rock? Even though when I was a kid I was watching wrestling and she knew who The Rock was? I mean, maybe that's more to do with her, but my point still stands. Much as Triple H had done during his opening monologue too, he went full in with Netflix, was like, man, we're so happy to be partners here. So sure, if you want to describe these two speeches as like PR exercises, well yeah, that's what it was. He also talked about the fact this show had made a ton of money and broken records, which doesn't actually surprise me because it was sold out, and a ticket these days costs a lot of money. When I laughed out loud, because he went, oh, I'd like to thank somebody, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was just there at ringside. He must have teleported in. He basically said that Cody had held the company on his back for the last year or so, which allows them to get to this pedestal. And you damn right, I am glad that Cody Rhodes is getting his flowers. If you go through his 2024, it was absolutely redonkulous, and to use wrestling verbiage, he deserves it. The thing is, they then joked about Mama Rhodes, as The Rock did indeed acknowledge Roman Reigns as his tribal chief, said he was probably going to whip Solo Sikoa's ass, when he hugged Cody and he left. I think we all just entered the Phantom Zone. So to sum it up, I suppose this was the real part of the show, which again is a stupid way to use that word, but this wasn't the final boss, this was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who had come out as part owner of the company, whatever thing you want to use. And so to summarize all of this, I just thought it was a little bit of an error and a little bit of a mistake. Because listen, Dwayne Johnson, once again, is really good at this stuff, but you can see that every day. You can see it in interviews, you can see it on social media. Anytime he does PR or press for a film, all of this charm and charisma oozes out, and you're like, such a good guy. Because I am a massive nerd, though, I just thought it would have made so much more sense to actually treat WWE like a movie. So even if you only know The Rock from the films, all of a sudden you do turn on to Raw, and you're like, oh my gosh, who is this final boss character who's foul-mouthed but pretty witty and has all the energy in the world? Even though you may not want to laugh at him, damn it, he got you again. I don't want to be that guy, which means I'm going to be that guy, but it once again is like being cast in a movie. What role is he going to play? I just think not showcasing that side of himself, well, I'll just say it again, I was a little bit disappointed. And yes, sure, I'm sure there's plenty of people that did tune in that were happy to see this side of The Rock, and it was perfectly fine, but you also have all that amazing stuff that we built up in 2024, and it'll be easy to get back to, but we still kind of kicked it out the window. So when you do put it all into a little package, you do have to give it a down, Like the final boss should be exclusive to WWE, and what a great advert that would have been. You want to see this entertaining human again? Only on Monday nights. So listen, I don't think we'll ever talk about this again. Just not the direction I would have gone in. You also need to mention the Raw ring back, which now looks like a bunch of adverts have thrown up on it, but I suppose that was always going to happen. And then we did cut to the commercial break, but not for me, because I am watching it on UK Netflix, so what's happening in the rest of the world. But I got a big old video package for Tribal Combat. I was very happy. It also actually does mean, though, that the most powerful force in all of sports entertainment, the commercial break, is now dead on Raw, because I can actually see what is going to happen. So fair play, WWE, you win. Of course, it meant all of this was headed towards Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa for the Ula Fala. I did think this was very smart because basically the first match you were seeing was going to be two guys smacking each other with weapons. We always got a fuck you Solo chant, and hey, if they're going to say it, I'm going to say it too. When Roman looked to Solo and Solo looked to Roman. Now, once again, I understand why they did do this, because it basically allowed Michael Cole to explain every single thing that's happened with the bloodline. In my dreams, he would have just gone, I don't know, Ula Fala and emotional manipulation, but he didn't. Otherwise, they just went back and forth until Solo decided, man, screw this, and he threw Roman into Alan the announce table and used Simba the Still Steps. Well, we got a commercial break. But not for me, I am going to run this into the ground. I got to see Solo talking smack. Sikoa then whacked him with a chair when Roman finally smartened up, and when Sikoa tried to crush him in the corner with the hip attack, Reigns was like, well, wait a minute, if he hit me with a chair, why don't I hit him with Charlie the Chair too? And that's exactly what he did. Sikoa then realized he could hit Roman right in the penis, so he made sure he did that too. When, of course, we introduced Kenny the Kendo Stick, and the answer for that is professional wrestling. Solo also started to choke Roman. I was like, why wouldn't you continue to do this until he's dead? That's the reason you choke someone. No one chokes you a little bit. You choke somebody until they're dead. Well, to be fair, Roman Reigns got out of this bomber power. He also threw Solo through a table and it looked like he was going to win, when of course Tama Tonga, who was miles away, must have gone, why am I at ringside? What a goober I am. I'm allowed to interfere. And he pulled the referee out at the 1-2. The best part was Jacob Fatu turned up to this, and this crowd went crazy, and he's over, and my gosh, we probably planted some seeds here, because he laid out Roman Reigns with the moonsault. Solo then hit the spike for another great 1-2, when Bloodline 2.0 just beating up all the referees. And of course, we did that, so we could go back to sort of WrestleMania 39, because who came out to help Roman Reigns? It was Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso. Now, I wouldn't have come out, or if I had have done, I would have gone, listen, Bloodline 2.0, you go away. Listen to us, Roman. Where have you been for the last few weeks? We basically did recreate that pay-per-view too, because Sami Zayn hit the big haluva kick and Jimmy Uso hit the big super kick. And Roman Reigns got the spear. You were meant to go, it's over. But that damn Solo Sikoa, he kicked out a two. My tribal chief. This thing got totally nuts, as they always do with Tribal Combat, because Sammy and Jimmy then got rid of the Bloodline 2.0 when Kevin Owens decided, man, I really hate that Roman Reigns, and he came in from nowhere, and he dropped him with a stunner, and once again he still kicked out, Solo Sikoa was pissed. I was then laughing as the ridiculousness got out of control, because Cody Rhodes' music hit, which does mean within the word of the story, he was backstage and he said to the sound guy, listen, just give it 1 minute. Oh no, hit play now. He obviously took out Kevin Owens, which made all the sense in the world, because it was an advert saying, hey, maybe you should watch SmackDown, and he got the Cody cutter. That's when essentially the end was nigh. Because even though Roman and Solo did get into it one last time, Roman hit one spear. When he went into the corner, he went, ooh, rah. When he does do that, it means his spear now has 2 times the power. He hit it, 1, 2, 3, your new tribal chief. Or your original tribal chief. Call him whatever you want. I'm gonna go with Darren. The Rock then just walked out from the back. And again, I'm sure you were like me, you're like, oh my God, he's gonna beat up Roman Reigns. And now we're gonna get into the character stuff, but we did not do that. He took the Ula Fala from Paul Heyman and he put it over Roman's neck, and then they hugged. So they're just the best of friends. Now, I really do think he should have just dropped Roman and we got right into it, but maybe it means The Rock isn't working WrestleMania. Nobody will know, but in terms of a first match on this Netflix show, it had the importance, it had the gravitas. Roman was always going to win, and hopefully we set up something with Jacob Fatu. Give it an up. CM Punk was then warming up because you do not want to be cold, when I said out loud, what the flub happened to the New Day versus Rey Mysterio in a partner match? Because apparently it got away. Now we did get a proper tease for Pentagon later, because we had another video, and it literally ended with the words Penta. So unless WWE is just going to troll us massively, I imagine that Pentagon is going to be here next week. But the thing is, I had prepared myself to see him in front of this crowd. You know the deal. I can't handle stuff like that. Now I've got to cry into my cornflakes It's getting it down. Thankfully, the New Day were still here because they had requested some time, and they're so good as always. And they did address this. They were like, well, yeah, we were meant to have that match, but we told Triple H we don't want to go to Los Angeles, and we definitely don't want to wrestle. And I was like, well, if you have that much power, why don't you just ask for a tag team title shot? The boos were just raining down. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are just my favorites, because they were like, well, we knew this was going to happen, because all of you like that stupid idiot Kendrick Lamar. So now I need that match at WrestleMania. It was also funny because we continue this angle where Jackie Redmond just cut them off after a while. She was like, dudes, you've gone too long. Now listen, I'm just going to give them an up because they entertain me, which makes me a terrible person. They're like the worst heels in the company, and yet I support them. Somebody slapped me around the face. Thanks. It then became clear that if you wanted wrestling on your wrestling show, this was not the episode for you. But man, if you're into star power, do you know who came out next? John Cena. The reaction was just so silly as well, and of course Cena put over Netflix. And if we go by what wrestling usually teaches us, Netflix is being pushed so hard, probably be the world champion soon. Cena was full on good guy as well, as he talked about starting his wrestling career in Los Angeles, and that's where the prototype character was born, when he felt like he too should address WrestleMania. Because there's been so many rumors about who he could face, and he talked about Drew McIntyre, he talked about Logan Paul, please don't do that. He talked about CM Punk, and he talked about Cody Rhodes. But here's the thing. When you actually get into my win-loss record, it absolutely sucks. That's why he doesn't feel like he deserves getting a shot at any world championship right now in order to break the 16-time world record and become a 17th-time world champion, because he has not won a match in 2,446 days. He also feels like his time is not now, because it's time for the people in the back. That's like, John, you've been away too long, and you have forgotten the three most important words in all of sports entertainment: geese title shot. And somebody will magically give you a shot at the title. It does mean that he has to look at things another way though, and I suppose you could win the Elimination Chamber, or you could become Mr. Money in the Bank, or the Royal Rumble is around the corner. So maybe John Cena should just go and win that. There is no next year, so he has to do it this year, when he thanked the fans and essentially looked right down at camera and said, hello, my name's John Cena, and I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. He also dropped in the line, never give up, which of course is his catchphrase. And I'm sorry, but unless we're going for sad retirement tour John Cena, which actually would be quite entertaining, surely this was just a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and we're gonna go pull the trigger. Either way, this was totally fine. It's just so nice to have John back on the show, because he is now in those upper echelons where he will be a mega super duper whooper star forever, and it pleases me to see him, which is somewhat ironic and also a weird thing to say. It's gigging up. This is when we got all those celebrities sitting in the crowd, as well as O'Shea Jackson Jr., which I thought was very cool. When we got to match number 2, 90 minutes in, welcome to Netflix. But WWE did just tick the box. It was Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan for the Women's Championship. That's right, my friends, Rhea Ripley won. Now, some crazies are melting down over this because, of course, they are crazy, but this whole feud has done the world of good for everybody. I mean, maybe we should have wrapped it up a couple of months ago, but Rhea Ripley will use 2025 and this victory to become a massive star, and Liv Morgan in 2024 had the best run of her career. So as long as we have a good story for her in 2025, well, she's going to continue to elevate herself. For some reason, though, when this kicked off, I realized, wait a minute, this was meant to be a last woman standing match. And now for no reason it wasn't. So I'm gonna give that a down, because I was looking forward to that. That's just how it works. If somebody tells me on, I don't know, my birthday, I get to go play the arcades, and instead they take me to a cheese factory, am I going to celebrate that? No, I'm not. No, that's a terrible analogy, because this match was still good. It certainly was no cheese factory. I do not know what we're talking about. The best part was Rhea Ripley went after Raquel Rodriguez right away, because she knows the deal, when she also looked at Dominic Mysterio and his moustache, because that guy's a piece of trash. It was then basically a no DQ match anyway, because Rhea powerbombed Liv Morgan into an announce table, which did not break, when Liv surveyed the area and she was like, wait a minute, I think somebody once told me the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring. So she hit the Oblivion onto that, and Rhea was dead. I have no idea why I said the Oblivion. It was a code breaker. Sometimes my mouth just says things. They then continued throughout the commercial break, and I got to see it, which made all the sense in the world, because Liv was whooping her tuchus. But when we did come back from the advert, Rhea Ripley was able to hit the Riptide, but Liv Morgan kicked out the 1-2-ooh. That's what I knew in my tum-tum. Get your t-shirt, pro wrestling tees. Rhea is definitely going to win, because we're giving Liv Morgan a lot. Rhea then did the shocked face, because she couldn't believe it, even though this has happened 62,749 times before, when that damn dom-dom slid a chair into the ring, What a dickhead. The referee was so disappointed with this, he basically went and yelled at Dominic like he was his dad. And this is when Raquel Rodriguez got involved. That opened the door for Liv Morgan, because she hit the Oblivion on that chair. And what's happened? That's right, Rhea Ripley kicked out, Liv did this. She also got the splash of the flogs, but nothing was working when she went for Oblivion 2, Electric Boogaloo. But that's when Rhea decided, I'm going to hit you with 1 Riptide, 2 Riptide, 3 Riptide, 4. Now you are on the floor. 1, 2, 3. Brand new champ. The Condom then attacked her from behind, but of course Rhea laid him out with a Riptide. So this was just ticking all the right boxes. Like, I just enjoyed it, man. It was a good time. And again, Rhea Ripley should be the champion. The correct move. In the most bizarre moment of the night too, as she was celebrating, out came the Undertaker as the American Badass version of himself. And again, just think about this in context. Why was he here? Now, of course, it was just to get him on the show, and it's not going to hurt Rhea Ripley, her hanging out with somebody that is a legend. But more importantly, just to double back down on what I did just say, Rhea Ripley being the champ at the start of the year and doing a championship change on the first ever Raw on Netflix, that is just the right thing to do. Not even sure you can argue it. Once more, just make sure you do have stuff for Liv and Dom up. Kathy and Kenny was then going to interview Adam Pearce, who was having a very easy night, all things considered, as the Raw GM, and he was talking to Bayley here. There has to be a transfer window tease. We also learned what Pentagon is going to be doing next week, because Chad Gable walked in, and this cracked me up. He just went, I would like to face the greatest luchador in the world. I mean, that is so on the nose. You know what? Why the flub not? We also had a quick interview with The Miz, who pretended he was so happy for John Cena, but he was definitely lying. When Karrion Kross and Scarlett stormed in, listen to us, Mizzy boy, you are definitely going to help us with the Wyatts, right? The Miz just went, no. Made me laugh. Karrion then used his resume against him, which always makes me chuckle, because The Miz has been doing that since the day the cows came home and basically got manipulated into doing this match. So next week, he'll probably be dead. The Rock then continued his change of heart, because we did see him backstage via Instagram or something, hugging Cody Rhodes, hugging Roman Reigns, and hugging Triple H, when he also drove off and said, hey, I'm going to be on NXT tomorrow. So if you are an NXT wrestler and you have insulted Ava recently, well, you're probably about to get your ass whipped. Now, I don't really know how to say what happened next, so I'll just give it to you direct as possible. We cut to Travis Scott, who I'm 99% sure was smoking a blunt. He was also going to be making an entrance with Jey Uso. And there it is. Brand new territory for me. I have never said those 2 sentences back to back in my life. It also did mean it was time for Jey versus Drew McIntyre. And boy, howdy, do we have to talk about this. I mean, obviously, otherwise we just stand here and be silent. Doesn't make for a good show. Now, it really did start hot because Jey Uso dived on Drew McIntyre while he was making his entrance, but of course, when he tried to jump again, Drew grabbed him in midair and he slammed him. Uso then returned with a powerbomb out the corner and a crossbody, when McIntyre decided, I'm gonna break your neck. At least that's what I presume, because he hit a neck breaker. We then went back and forth because McIntyre was going to go for the Claymore, but Jey Uso stopped that with a kick that was super, when McIntyre came back with a spine buster. And it was really fun stuff. Well, the crowd was oddly quiet. Now, as ever, you're allowed to do whatever the flub you want to do if you buy a ticket, but it did take something away from this. Jey then countered another Claymore for a spear, but only got a 1-2-oo, when Drew was able to hit the Claymore, but he only got a 1-2-oo as well. That's when I realized, oh, this is why WWE called it a mini WrestleMania, because everybody is going to kick out of the other person's finish. We then actually saw a wrestler run out of HP, because Jey Uso just collapsed on the floor when Drew was going for another Claymore. Did you know what Drew did? You're probably thinking, well, I'm sure he jumped on Jey Uso and beat the living piss out of him. Nope. He just walked around for a while, because that's what you do if you're a wrestler. Oh, I could win. No, I'm going to pose. As we know, you cannot do that in 2024, and you absolutely cannot do it in 2025. So when Drew finally went for his last Claymore, Jey Uso ducked, and he realized, oh my gosh, nobody has hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up so far, so he did it. And damn it, he got the uno dos tres. Now, I really didn't see that coming, because as much as I love Jey Uso, and good grief do I love Jey Uso, I just want to be his friend. When I searched my feelings like a Jedi, well, I really think Drew McIntyre should have won. Like, ever since he has returned, he has felt properly dangerous, man. He shouldn't have taken a loss for a while. And look, the match was really good, and now we've opened the door for a round 2, and I'm never going to be overly upset when the babyface wins, especially a Jey Uso, so that is an up. But I can't get off this McIntyre thing. Like a massive nerd, I've been thinking about it for hours, and it's in my tum-tum. I think I got to give it a down. I just think it would have benefited McIntyre massively, especially if he had cheated. And do you know what Jey's superpower is? he can just elicit so much sympathy, so if he had been dicked over here, well, I just think it would have worked. We then got a Gunther video, and given that he is the world champion of Raw, I think he should have been on the show when we were having an interview with Gabriel Iglesias. I massively enjoyed it though, because the New Day walked in and just ripped this guy, but they weren't able to beat him up because the Alpha Academy arrived as well. When Kathy Kelly was like, sorry New Day, we've run out of time. Now eventually they are gonna have to explain themselves. All this is pretty funny. We then learned that the Roman Reigns Tribal Chief Acknowledgement Ceremony will be on the 27th of January. Now, given that's like 3 weeks away, at least we know how long it takes to cater such an event. We also made sure to sort some business after this because we had an interview with Rhea Ripley, who was so happy to be the champion again, and Damian Priest was here. Next week, he is going to take on Finn Balor in a street fight. When that is done, his whole beef with the Judgment Day is also at an end. That is the correct thing to do. Seth Rollins was then getting warmed up for the same reason CM Punk was earlier, when I thought I was going to have to give another down. Turns out I don't need to. Because Hulk Hogan came out to cut a Hulk Hogan promo, and do you know what the fans in this building did? They booed the shit out of him. So let's just give them an up and move on. Good work, everyone. Good work. When it was time for our main event, and I can't lie, why would I lie? That would be a massive waste of all of our times. It was Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Flubbed me sideways, I was excited. I also thought this ruled, because most WWE main events do lean on the side of the ridiculous. Like look at the WrestleMania Night 2 main event, or what we did in our opening contest on this show. You can just have the most wonderful, ludicrous moments, and I want more of this, because WWE is really good at it. That's why Punk versus Rollins stood out like a sore thumb though, although in a good way, which is a terrible phrase. I should have picked something else, because they just whooped each other's ass. They made it feel like a fight. My gosh, it was so easy to buy into. They also brawled into the crowd and they were punching each other really hard. When they got back in the ring, Rollins went for the stop and Punk went for the GTS. I was yelling at my television, you guys haven't charged up your meters yet, it's never gonna work. Seth got out of that GTS by smashing Punk in the head with these elbows when he was booting CM in the corner. Once again, I think he was just kicking him, to the point the ref was like, you gotta calm down, bro. That always irks me. It's a wrestling match, damn it, let them fight. Punk didn't care about any of that though, so he came flying out of the corner with a neck breaker when he even did a dive, which I did not see coming. When from nowhere, all of a sudden Seth caught CM Punk, he hit him with a GTS, and we will never know what is going to happen there. CM Punk fell out the ring. Of course, instantly Punk was able to hit the curb stomp and Seth Rollins kicked out of that, so Seth Rollins did hit the GTS and Punk kicked out of that. This was another one. I was like, man, they must have been watching Steve Austin versus The Rock from WrestleMania 17, because believe you me, that's where all this was born. Punk was then able to avoid the stomp by basically running away, which is when Seth Rollins went, that's right, you bang out of here like you did 10 years ago. I was like, dude, I don't think those two things are equatable. Seth did not care at all because he then hit a pedigree on an announce table, but this did not go well because when he landed on his knee, he saw it like, oh no, I've flubbed it up again, which could be why when he got back into the squared circle and he hit another pedigree, he was only able to get the 1-2-0. He then got the buckle bomb, which I did not see coming, and hit the curb stomp. And listen, you could see what was going to happen here because of ring positioning, but it still worked because the ref went 1, the ref went 2, and Punk got his foot on the rope. But again, go and listen to these fans. 50% were for Seth Rollins, 50% were for Punk. This really was very, very good. Seth then also hit his superplex Falcon Arrow combo, which once again surprised me. But just when he was going to finish off CM Punk, from nowhere, Punk hit the GTS. He kind of knocked Seth Rollins out because he bounced off the ropes, right back into the GTS position. CM Punk hit another one, and kind of out of nowhere, at least it surprised me, he got the 1-2-3. Although that did rhyme, so it must have been correct. So there are two things to this. The first being that Seth Rollins really kicked CM Punk's ass here, which sort of explains the finish. And two, I'm 99% sure that's the same way CM Punk beat Jon Moxley in AEW. So you can go into the comments and have a field day with that one. It is absolutely massive though, because CM Punk just defeated Seth Rollins with no shenanigans. And if this doesn't mean that CM Punk now goes after the World Heavyweight Championship, well, what the flub are we doing? That's exactly what he should do. I loved it though, because it was a proper dirty fighting war, whatever that means. And if you wanted to believe that these two properly hate each other, mission accomplished. It was years in the making as well, and arguably the best thing on the show. But given that you did need a proper main event to main event the first ever Raw on Netflix, I am absolutely giving it an up. I was a big fan. both of these guys rule. Which did indeed bring us to the end of the first ever Raw on Netflix, which I keep saying because it's ingrained into my brain. And listen, I will say this. Was it slightly disappointing given what I think we were expecting? Yes, but I do understand it. I am repeating myself once more. I just think WWE expected loads of new eyes on the product, and I hope that does happen because I just want professional wrestling to be as successful as possible, and it was a pretty cool event to be a part from, even from my couch on my ass, giving it up. Now, of course, the most important thing is you let me know what you thought about Raw last night in those comments below. Even if you hated it, it's okay, man. I respect your opinion. Then please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Smack It Down, and join the ups and down journey every single week while I will watch wrestling because you don't have to. I love you, my friends, and I'll see you soon.